What's your love?
All right.
He's a dog.
All friggin' right. And you know what? I think, as is tradition, let me see here. Why is the sound not working on my thing? That makes sense. All right, bear with me. I don't know if anyone can actually hear me right now.
I can hear you.
I was going to leave him hanging.
But this thing is not picking up my volume on...
It finally quit, huh?
Oh, what the hell is going on here?
It's protested.
No, I'm hearing you on the stream.
Are you hearing me on the stream? Oh, it's
Yeah.
weird. It's not showing that
Unfortunately.
it's like working right now on my thing, but you are hearing me on the stream? Are you hearing yourself?
Yes.
Fantastic. Wouldn't be a stream if there weren't technical issues. But welcome everyone to session 3, the long overdue, not anticipated, we didn't think it was going to happen, conclusion of our short adventure of Stars Without Numbers, Apeiron, Aeternitas, a Stars Without Numbers actual play. And just glad to be here. Glad to be here, and confused as to why Streamlabs isn't showing me my volume, but it's fine. It doesn't matter as long as folks at home can hear me. But yeah, so as is tradition, we're just going to go around the table, have everyone introduce themselves, tell us who they're playing if they remember, and we're going to dive right into this conclusion of whatever the hell this clusterfuck is. And I don't make any promises, everybody. It's going to be what it's going to be. That's where we're at. It's going to be what
It's going to be May.
It's going to be a thing that exists. So we're going to go around the table. We're going to go Zeb, David, Matthew, Hex, Blau. Gentlemen, take it away.
Hi, I'm Zeb. I'm going to be playing Emmett Griggs, our guy with a gun.
That's what it says on the tin.
I guess that is. I'm David. Gonna be playing Dakota Dare. Asian sneaky guy with a gun. My notes say something like batshit crazy. So we'll see where that goes.
Hello everyone, my name is Matthew. I play Ross Costell, the engineer of our vessel, and a worshipper of the inventor of spike or faster than light travel in this.
Because I just unmuted it myself and I couldn't hear anything. Okay. All right.
That's
I don't
fair.
know, man.
That's fair.
I
That's a
don't know what's
smart man
going on
right
here.
there.
I generally don't know what's going on.
That's
I don't
fair.
know, man.
That's fair. That's a
I don't know what's
smart man.
All right, cool. Yeah, I just heard it. We're good. All right, so yeah. I gotta tell you, I truly feel this game is cursed. Because it's just, I really do. Like, we were supposed to finish it in just a couple weeks, and like, it's been a clusterfuck. But you know what? We're gonna bumble our way through. So you know what? I'm gonna do the recap. Because I barely remember what happened last time, which is perfect. So that's good. But when we last left off, our intrepid adventurers, you all were on a planet in a system, and in this particular system, and you had through a series of random encounters driven mostly by my railroaded plot, you guys were forced to travel out into the vastness, the void of space. And it's probably a psychic ghost, more than likely, a psychic ghost. But you found a massive, and when I say massive, it was, bigger than planets sized vessel, blacker than the blackest black. How much more black could it be? None more black.
Thank you.
To
So
quote
it was a
what Matthew
big
said.
black spaceship.
Big old
Yes.
spaceship, huge, just like it looked like a void in the middle of space, which was beautiful. And David was feeling this weird draw and kept hearing this voice telling him to do things or telling him that there was a certain odds of survival. It kept saying, things like,
Greetings.
greetings, things like that. It's good stuff, things of that nature. And
Hello, Space Lady.
yeah, it's been good. It's been good. You've been having a good time with that, which as it were. But we're gonna pick up pretty much right where we left off. You have just docked with this massive space station, the Fancy Dandy, aka the Condor, has just docked with the vessel. And it almost seemed as though, as you pulled up to it and you extended your own docking ring, it almost seemed as though the ship itself was waiting for you. It seemed to kind of mirror what you were doing. Your arms started to extend, the ship itself started to extend, and then there was that slight little kind of jarring bump. The ship shook briefly. You maybe had to grab onto your console or this chair that you were sitting in, and then it all went silent. But as you guys made your way down towards the actual airlock, you get a good look of the interior of this vessel, at least the airlock itself. The interior itself is this kind of perfectly just clean white. It is a juxtaposition of the exterior of the vessel. And from where you are, you can only see this like kind of white like light, as though it's illuminated. It's a very bright white light illuminating from the inside of the vessel. And it just looks to be not a standard airlock, but you can see there's a little console off to the left-hand side. There's a little green blinking light on it. And it all literally just says, press to open. Seems almost too simple. But I'd like to open the scene with all of you standing in this airlock. And please, gentlemen, take it away.
First things first, Griggs, as the pilot, would like to take his keys and hit the alarm on the spaceship. Make sure everything's locked up.
Whoop, whoop.
That's the sound of the police.
Wow. Dakota is probably heading toward the button.
Okay. You all watch as Dakota begins to make his way towards the button. Anyone move to stop him or just let it happen?
We're all feeling some kind of a draw, right? I remember.
Barrett is the only one. Lachlan is the only one who's not affected by the draw, I believe. I think everyone else had contact with the ectoplasm, the ooze.
Right. Yeah.
As Dakota moves forwards, Elias kind of drops back and, palms the pocket where he had the anti-psychic agent,
Mhm.
and gives Lachlan a nod.
He responds in kind. Make sure that we know we're watching him.
And Ross is just striding forward right alongside Dakota.
Perfect. Dakota, as you get up to this little panel, this little green, says, press here to open. You watch as the panel itself, it is about a foot, it's a square panel, and it sticks out about a 45-degree angle. And as you get to it, it says press here. You watch as the panel itself, this kind of digital screen, it seems to kind of fold over on itself. Like you can see these like little pixels, the pixelated starts to kind of fold over, and then it turns itself into a little handprint. Looks like you're supposed to place your hand on it to grant access into the structure of the ship itself.
I do not think Dakota in this state would consult anybody, so he probably would have been saying,
Put your hand
Puts
right
his
on.
hand on the scanner.
There is a moment. You can see this kind of green light. Looks as though it's scanning your hand. Goes up, down, up, down. It's halfway up the third time. And then you hear that voice. Everyone hears this, but this is the same voice you've been hearing, Dakota, but you hear it go.
Access granted.
There is a decompression sound that as the doors begin to open, and there is this kind of condensation, almost a kind of mist, as the bit of more colder air of the airlock you're in meets with this significantly warmer air inside. Perhaps where you were at in this airlock, it's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside, though, it feels as though it is a good maybe 75, like a perfect kind of temperature, maybe like 70, 75 degrees. And the atmosphere itself smells like the freshest air you've ever encountered, like a beautiful beachside breeze. It is glorious. But as it opens up, you are illuminated by this bright light. It takes your eyes a moment to adjust. But as you open up, you are greeted with a kind of entryway just inside. It looks more kind of like a maybe like a hallway with some side passages. And I want everyone to, what was it? Was it notice, perception? I can't remember how it works in the system. It's been forever.
Notice.
Notice.
Yeah.
It is notice. I'd like everyone to make a quick notice check for me, please. Been a hot second.
I'm assuming that's using wisdom.
Yes, with wisdom, please. Thank you.
So okay, it's been a while.
I know,
I have
it
a
has
+1 in my notice. So is that my modifier?
No, that would
+1?
be like a situational modifier. It'll handle it. Just click OK. Yeah.
Then you said it was wisdom.
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So as it opens and you see your eyes adjust to the light, couple of things you take notice of. Directly in front of you, there appears to be roughly 30, 40 feet inside of the ship itself. There is a massive, what looks to be maybe either an energy, some sort of like maybe like an energy core, or maybe a computer terminal. But there's a big bright blue screen. It's just kind of this soft, like light blue. It's just kind of static on it right now. But with the notices that you guys made, you all see that there are obvious blood stains. They look to be red to both the left, right, and directly in front of you. And then just to the left, there appears to be a small little handheld like data terminal, maybe something that you might mount to your wrist. Almost kind of looks like a Pip-Boy that is just off the left-hand side inside of this ship.
Is it fresh blood?
Wonderful question. You'd need to get a little bit closer to analyze it. From the distance, it does look moist. It looks wet, so it's likely fresh-ish. How fresh though? You'd have to get closer to analyze it. Doesn't look dry though.
I cannot move, my man.
Elias will draw his sidearm and step
Yep.
towards the edge of the airlock cautiously.
Check here. So who can't control their character?
I can't control Emmett.
Let's see here. Emmett.
There we go. I
You
got
got
him now.
Perfect.
Yep.
Everybody else good?
Yep.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. Who is moving in first?
Ross is just going to barrel forward for that, sort of enraptured by the encounter with this fantastical piece of technology from the pre-Scream era.
Love that. Love that. As you rush forward, Ross, you get right up next to it. There is a voice, that same sort of robotic voice that you heard that gave you access to the vessel, the same voice, Dakota, you've been hearing over and over again in your mind. You hear it go,
I'm sorry, but I can't do that. I'm sorry, but I can't do that.
He is going to scoop up that personal data terminal as quickly as possible, and then retreat back into the airlock.
Warning. Warning.
2
Right.
warnings.
At the edge of the airlock, he is going to drop the terminal
Mhm.
and then step back into the airlock.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Little terminal
What
drops
you
down
be
to the
warning
ground.
me about now this time? You all hear this now?
Yeah, you heard it before?
For a while now, Muffin. For a while now.
Oh,
That felt like that was information that could have been shared.
yeah, Elias is gonna step out around the corner of the
Yep.
airlock and clear the right side.
I will step out the other side with my pistol and clear the other side.
To the right side, you see Elias. To the right side, Elias, you see what looks to be maybe some sort of like observation terminals. You see 4 chairs. All of the screens are illuminated. They're on. You can see that there looks to be just a multitude of data just being sprawled across. You'd have to get close enough to it, closer to it to really analyze what it is. But it looks as though this is studying something, as though these computer terminals are collecting just massive amounts of data about something. Maybe the local system, maybe it's analyzing data the ship already has. But you can just see all of these like lines of code. Think kind of like the whatchamacalls it's frickin' the Matrix style where they see all the little code, but instead it's blue and you just see these lines of data and code just going across the screens. To the left, you see a hallway leads down to another set of terminals. No chairs in front of this one. These ones, though, are flickering as though they are malfunctioning. So just the left-hand side, you see Emmett. You see these. These kind of like flickering panels. Like one screen will go off, then another come on, then one goes off, another comes on, and they're flickering a little bit. And then it leads down towards a little bit deeper to the left, and you see another set of 4 chairs, data terminals. These ones all are illuminated correctly, so they look as though they're functioning.
Okay.
Elias will call that out. We've got data on my side.
I got some that aren't running, and I got some that are on this side.
Want me to take a look at the ones that are malfunctioning?
I think we should figure out what the ones that are working are doing before we try and figure out the ones that aren't are.
Not going to be much help with those, but okay.
I'll just not have
Am I close enough now, or do I need to take another step up to start looking at the blood?
You can take one more step up and be right up next to it.
Yeah, I want to know, is this fresh or not? Is there
getting down next to it? It's pretty obvious that it is relatively fresh. And by relatively fresh, I mean blood dries pretty quickly. This probably happened in the last 15 to 30 minutes. It's very, very, very fresh. It hasn't even started to congeal yet.
Gentlemen, there's somebody in here with us. I don't know whether they're wounded or not, but there is somebody here. I don't know if this is somebody getting killed by something else or what, but somebody was here within the past 20 minutes.
I mean, are we sure it's human blood? Doc, can you, or Father, Father, can you take a look at it?
I'll see what I can do. And I'd like to take a look at the fluid.
Emmett, what can you tell us about the patterns? What kind of wound was this? Or is this dripping?
I'm assuming that would be a notice roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say that'd be good. Wisdom.
Notice wisdom, you said?
Mm-hmm. All right, that was a 6. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, Emmett. What you can tell is that it doesn't look like it was enough blood to, like, it's not like someone was insanguinated. It looks like it was more than likely a wound that someone was trying to patch up. But what you do notice with that 6 is that the wounds themselves like the blood splatters themselves, you actually notice as you're looking around that little armband, that arm computer that's sort of almost like a pit boy.
Mm-hmm.
You see that there's a little bit of blood on the inside of the arm strap. So imagine there's a computer, there's a little circular strap, you could slide it over your forearm and then put it in place. There's a little bit of blood inside of that as well.
I would be relaying this and just kind of trying to think of all the reasons why. One of the ones that's coming to Emmett right now is the possibility of somebody trying to just rip that thing off of their arm. And that is a theory that is shared amongst the group. I would like to keep my gun trained on this hallway that I can't see the end of.
So the hallway that leads towards the data terminal, the large pylon. Okay, perfect.
Are there any sort of the Grecian themes, the Hellenic type iconography that we saw in our visions?
As you're looking around and you're looking to see if there's any sort of Grecian iconography or anything like that, you actually notice that there are two doors. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of reveal these doors to you. Up here, there's a door here. There's a door to the right, so just up towards the pylon, say northward if we're using cardinal directions. And there's also a door on the right-hand side of your entrance as well that each of them has a different kind of Grecian-like person standing there. The one on the right-hand side appears to be a warrior. This sort of black outlined looking person is holding a spear, standing. You can see this kind of looks like it has a really nice looking rib, like abs. You can see big muscles on it, but the face is just, there's no face. It's just a black circular kind of, image, but you can see the arms and the muscles. It's very, very well, it's very, very distinct, as what I would say. Left-hand side, there appears to be a woman. She looks to be holding onto a small chest. This is the image that you see, a small chest. And that chest does look vaguely familiar to the chest that was described by, I believe it was Dakota, but correct me if I'm wrong, whoever saw that. No, it was Emmett.
Emmett when he was high.
Saw that. Emmett, that looks just like that chest that she's holding onto it. And then on the right-hand side, there is a doorway. And this doorway has what appears to be someone standing in front of an easel, as though they are painting something. And again, all of them are in perfect physical condition. You can just see there's just a little bit of detail showing the abs and the muscles, but each of them does not have a face. There's no distinct face on it. It's kind of a black orb.
Elias would gesture towards the door with the warrior on and say, "That's roughly what I saw in my vision."
So, warrior, woman with the chest, and then the artist right here.
Ross is actually going to bend down and very carefully try to turn over that the armband personal computer. And can I get a sense of what it's actually displaying? Does it have recordings of this environment?
So, phenomenal question. As you flip it over and you look at the screen, looking more towards the actual, screen on it, it looks to be giving off data about someone's health. It almost looks like a heart monitor, but it's more detailed than that. It has information about, it looks to be something about you can see a brain scan flashes on it for a second. You can see something that's showing blood pressure, you think. You can see something that's showing literally the, we have electricity inside of us, part of how our neurons and our nerve endings communicate as little pulses of electricity. It shows the level of electricity in the person. It shows the amount of moisture inside of them. It's more detailed than any medical equipment that you've ever seen before. More detailed than what's on the Condor or the Fancy Dandy. It is down to literally almost the atomic level of detail of whoever was wearing this before.
Then I think Ross is just going to pick that up and gesture over to the father. You might be able to make sense of this. Maybe he's infected too. Is there any way you could tell?
By the way, okay. kind of
All right,
rude.
well,
Kind of rude.
that's-
I was talking, but okay.
That's not ominous at all.
That sound continues in the background for as long as you're holding onto that, Matthew.
Okay, if the father doesn't take it, then he's going to drop it on the ground.
Okay. Wolf. That when I before we attend to this, right? I was asked to sort of like check up, medically speaking, on the goop, the fluid.
Mm-hmm.
What shall I do for that?
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Is medicine, was that the check, or
Heal or no science, probably.
so I would say make a heal check. It was intelligence, wisdom, intelligence.
Intelligence, probably.
It's so long. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It would probably be what information he gets. Like a heal check would be, okay, he's lost this much blood. I can tell you what his blood type is, the nature of the wound, splatter pattern. But no science might be, oh, I'm detecting some kind of bizarre.
No science is what I'd go with.
Oh,
heal.
okay.
Yeah, heal int is good. So here's what you say. Here's what you know. With the heal int, you know that this is not enough blood for someone to have died. So this is likely a deep gash, a cut. Likely didn't hit an artery because it would just be everywhere. It looks to be more of like a slow bleed. But the amount of blood here, it looks like they were staunching the flow of blood. So someone likely like fixed or at least bandage up and stopped the flow of blood at some point.
Right.
Does the blood give us a direction, a pattern?
Beautiful question. The blood trail seems to end at the airlock that you are at. Like that's where the person seems to have been going to.
Coming up, knowing that, would I have had anything on my scanners bringing us in to have seen any form of ship leaving?
Nothing.
Yeah, so that's definitely ominous.
Probably fine.
I guess given that, I would clock that because that happened a couple seconds ago. I would pick up the biometric, well, not metric, but the biological feedback thing that Ross dropped. Do I get a cacophony of?
Oh yeah, obnoxious beeping in the background. That alarm is still going off.
Cool, great. Love the vibe.
Why don't we have
Are there
Dakota
any
try
sort
to
of
grab it?
vents or anything right here that my guy might have ducked into?
So great question.
Right at the
There are
airlock?
vents. There are vents to the right-hand side. They look like little grates, likely for airflow or access to the floor, under the floor. Yes, there are. They do exist.
But nothing that like a blood trail is leading to. Nothing.
No.
It's just
Blood
stops right at the
trail.
airlock. All right.
Everything seems to indicate that the person went to this particular door, and who knows what happened.
Okay.
Hey, Father, we didn't see any other ships coming in. Could you test the blood, see if it's maybe... Are there any signs it's been cryogenically frozen? Could he be from this ship?
Well, it's a possibility. I can do some tests, but apart from away from more complicated systems on the ship, ours that is, I'm not sure exactly what I can do. I'd have to bring it back. And given how angry this place seems to be to touch anything, I don't know how much that's going to help. All right. Quiet down.
What?
I'm going to drop it again,
As soon as you drop it, it stops.
So,
Dakota, if I may. This whole time they've been fucking with this little arm wristband thing, you have been unable to take your eyes off of it. Just looks really cool. It looks really interesting. It looks like it might be your size. I don't know, maybe, but it just looks like it might be your size. That's all I'm saying. Do with that information as you see fit.
Let's hold position here for what? He looks at the doctor 10, 20 minutes, see if this blood changes, see if it was actually fresh, or if there's something in the environment keeping it this way.
Yeah, Dakota's going to try and grab it without anybody noticing.
You know what?
Is that possible with everyone's eyes on it?
I think that it's impossible with everyone watching you. but you could definitely reach down towards it and touch it. I don't think anyone would. And you guys tell me, would anybody actively try to stop him from doing that?
Bang! No.
Bang! You're dead. Roll credits.
You saw him. He had a gun.
It's coming right for us.
It's the end of Shane. If that's a reference, that means
What's
anything
that
to
over
anybody.
there?
I wouldn't certainly, but I would give the captain a look. Right.
Yeah.
And he'd just give another, meaningful nod. And that
I'll let him touch it.
within arm's reach of Dakota.
Perfect. Dakota, you reach down. Your hand touches the object. It feels very familiar. It just feels like you've interacted with this particular device or one very similar to it at some point. You cannot place the memory. It almost feels more instinctual. Like this is something that you've always known about. You didn't even know that you knew about it, sort of thing. That's the best way I can describe the feeling.
Does the information on it spark any bells?
The information
It
on it
does have
does
some
not
programming on it.
spark. It does not spark anything. But as soon as you touch it, all of the data that was on the screen, the brain scans, the neurological scans, the scans of lungs and heart and tissue and everything about the human condition that was being scanned, all returns to a neutral setting. So it's resetting itself and it's not reading anything.
Dakota, do you have any need to wait before you put that thing on? Just kind of recognizing the look in his eyes.
I'm gonna look at it from a programming standpoint. How does it look like it works? He's not super good at programming, but he does know some.
Phenomenal question. I want to make you roll for this. As you maybe flip it around, look at it again. It feels very familiar. It feels very natural to have it in your hand. As you flip around, you look inside. You can see that there are these smooth, metallic-like plates on the inside. And imagine a set of like scale mail is the way I would describe it. They're all kind of interlaced on top of each other, all over the inside of the armband, and each and every one of them appears to be made of a different element and is of a different color. You see nickel, you see gold, you see silver, you see platinum, you see solid versions of what you think are elements that don't have solid forms. It is all different types of elements, the coloring, etc. And it's just, as you look at them, you almost instinctually know what each of them are. You see a solid form of helium gas. It's weird, but you just instinctually know what all of these are. And it appears that you think that it reads your condition, your makeup, by reading the elements that make you up, for lack of a better phrase, but that's the way that it works. At least you think so. That's what your instincts are telling you.
So now this is going to sound crazy. It's going to sound crazy. And he'll explain that to the rest of the crew. It's like,
Well, let's not beep at
that's
you.
oxygen there. Pointing at one of the plates, I just made that up, but
It's not crazy. Nothing we're doing here at this very moment's fucking crazy at all.
Probably true.
So we have a door, Captain. We have a door here with a chest that I saw. We have a door with the warrior you saw. We have a door with a painter that Ross saw.
Rossi a painter or a scholar? I can't remember.
That was a scholar, but could be the same thing.
We might be missing a door as well.
Cover me, would you? And Ross is actually just going to start stepping forward into the ship to get a look at this area on the two sides of this. So he's just going to sort of step forward here.
And I'm going to go pretty much on right next to him, gun first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Ross will withdraw from holsters at his side or sheaths at his side, a small thermal dagger and a monoblade.
Love that. Okay. So as you get close, as soon as you cross the threshold that enters into this, I'd say this next chamber, you can see that there are these large metallic white doors on each side. So there is a door that is off to the right hand side that is closed, a white metallic door on the left hand side, and one on the one to the north, right in front of you behind this computer terminal. You see there are additional doors to the left and right up the hallway, just in front of the door. Each of them has a different Grecian-like figure. These ones look to be one looks to be a farmer in the middle of the field. Another one looks to be maybe a sailor in the middle of sailing a boat. You can see a little like imagery of like a sailing vessel, like a Grecian trireme or something like that. But as you get close to it, the central, this kind of computer terminal, this hub, you watch as it seems to activate. It kind of comes to life. The computer console itself, the screen, extends out, lowers, and comes down to where it would be the perfect height for you to interact with it. The lights on it all start to glow blue, and you hear this as though it's powering up, and then it just goes blank. There's like a blank light blue screen, and there's just a little blinking cursor on the left-hand side of it, as though it's waiting for someone to enter something. Dakota, do you put the armband on? Think about it. We'll get back to you. Ross, go ahead.
Any of this you recognizing right now, brother? Well, that's motivating. Shit.
Get the computer.
Thanks,
Thank
Captain.
you, Captain. Thank you, Captain.
You're welcome. Something lovely might help.
Ross is going to step forward and then enter in something that, some kind of universal programming code for like root menu or something like that, or a list, something that might provoke a list of commands.
Step up to it, Ross, there's no keyboard when you get there. As you step up to it, a small blue beam of light emanates out from a little camera-like device and seems to scan you once, twice, 3 times, gets right to the middle and stops. As that happens, you watch as a digital kind of holographic keyboard, very similar to the keyboards you would use aboard the Fancy Dancy, appears in front of you. It almost looks solid. You can just barely look through it, but it activates, giving you a means as to which to input this universal code.
And the characters on the keyboard are what we recognize as what is it?
Standard keyboard
mandate.
that we're using today. Absolutely. Correct.
Oh, we're not registered on this ship. Why is it pulling us up? Why is it letting us through, giving us access to this?
Well, I think we are registered because we were infected.
About the only thing
So
that
we
makes
can
sense,
find
I
out.
suppose. Got you covered. But
So-
All the good'll do.
Okay.
So if everyone else is like, did we establish? Jog my memory. Did we establish that Lachlan was not infected or had the least?
you had no contact with
No contact
any of
with
the
it.
ooze.
Cool. Then I would like to.
Just leave through the airlock and leave your friends here and just go.
I mean, ideally yes, but
Okay, perfect.
that's
Roll credits.
yeah. Believe it or not, I'm walking on. Sorry. What is it? If I'm not infected, is it like resisting my presence, or like, is there a clear sense that like everybody else has got a stamp on their wrists to go through and I don't? Or
No. The only
Okay.
time it got angry is when you interacted with that device.
the device specifically? Cool.
Mhm, correct.
Okay.
Yep,
All right.
But it got angry when
Ross touched it
did.
too.
correct.
and
But to be fair, he also heard the voices when we came on. even though he had absolutely no contact with it. So I think it's a matter of you walking on the ship in some capacity.
Well, I mean, it could have also been more primitive technology, speakers we can't see, or something on that along that lines for in the ship rather than some
Right.
kind of telepathic
Mhm.
communication.
It felt like it was sound. It was coming from around you, not inside your head. Just to be
Okay.
clear with that.
Okay.
It did seem like it was from a speaker. Correct.
All right. Never mind then.
No, it's a good question.
Oh, I just realized I inadvertently approached this door. Does it open as I got near it?
Excellent. As you approach that door, it does open. It absolutely does. There is a
And
noise.
Which one was this? Was that the painter or the chest?
That was the chest.
then it
Did
would have
pop
opened
open
when I walked by it.
Yes, it would. So you pop it open. Inside of this, you see Paizo 2020 ink. No, I'm just
Oh.
kidding. What you see inside of it is a room filled with weaponry. You see guns that you are familiar with. You see weapons you've never seen before. You see the mundane. You see swords and knives and daggers. You see plasma guns. You see, ballistic weapons. You see all manner of weapons inside of this room. It looks to be a library of death, as it were, things that can grant death. It is a warrior's library, is what you see. The left-hand side, as our good man walked close to it, the door seemed as though it wanted to open. It did a and then started to jam up. But as it started to jam up, you did get a brief glimpse inside Emmett. And in the corner of the room, this is a unlit room, you think you see a woman sitting on a wooden chair. Looks to be like a rocking chair. She is sitting there. Her head is humanoid. She has kind of this auburn, kind of brownish looking hair pulled back into a tight bun. But her body appears to be mechanical in nature, kind of like this white android. Her body looks to be made of the same material that the vessel itself is made of. Her eyes are closed. Her head is just, looking forward. She looks to be almost in a kind of stasis.
I'd like to pull down my low light goggles. Can I see and make out anything else in this room? Is there blood?
Beautiful. I'll go ahead and reveal the room to you, just taking into consideration that it is currently inaccessible. See this woman. With the goggles, you can see that there are wires coming down from the ceiling that are attached to her. And she has this brown hair. It's like wearing what looks to be her lips are like almost like this bright red lipstick. And she looks to be, if she is an android, which she probably is, she looks to be powered like in a stasis sort of thing, in a low power mode, as it were. That is the only thing inside this room.
I would gesture for the captain to come and
Watson. You're funny, man.
Is there anything I can reach from like the threshold of the door in this room?
Yeah. What do you want to reach for?
Whatever is the most advanced form of weaponry I can recognize and know how to use.
That's beautiful. You see a laser-based weapon. One that, if it comes to it where you need to use it, it's probably going to vaporize whatever you shoot.
All right, he'll grab that, back out of the door,
Mhm.
offer Mr. Ross his pistol, because I think you drew a knife, right?
He just sort of like holds up his hand. Don't worry, I'm pretty good with these. I'll be fine.
All right, so long as it's not more than 6 yards away. And he'll, continue his back up and rotate to look at
The
the thing.
door
Just
behind you shuts as you move away from it. You get about, 5 feet away from it. It shuts.
Yep.
So you guys are by that door. I do want to get back to Ross for a second, though. We're kind of dancing
Of course.
around all of these different sections.
Sorry.
Ross, you've entered. No, it's good. I'm glad you guys brought that up. It's perfect. Ross, you are standing next to the computer. You enter in the code, and it brings up a root menu. The best way I can describe it is it appears to be a library catalog. And when I say library catalog, it starts with the A's, and it goes through every sort of A word that you could think of. It's all in just common English. Just like it goes apples, different apples. It goes with different ants, and this. It's just like a library catalog of information, and you can swipe up to scroll, and the A's go on forever, B's go on forever. It just appears to be a catalog of everything in existence. Is the best way I can describe it. You want to click
Media,
on
but
one of
it'll,
the
it'll run.
things?
Is there any kind of search function?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I'd like to search for, I guess, well, the name that we got of the ship itself, that we presume is the ship.
That is beautiful. You type it in, and as you type it in, it starts to scroll, gets to Apeiron Aeternitas, and it's the only one that says data corrupted.
You son of a... Okay.
Search for your name.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I'll search for Dakota's name, actually.
Search for Dakota. You search Dakota. The information for Dakota
Dakota, comma north, Dakota, comma south.
appears to be incomplete. And as you pull up the information, it starts to go over. It starts with just a list of his like current physical conditions. It has, information on his heart rate, etc. Almost appears as though he's being actively monitored, and the information itself is being actively updated as you're watching it. How many beats per second, neural activity, etc. goes through, and it actually has a history of where he was born, what he's done, what he's done up to this point. But it appears that the entry itself has not been completed. Is there anything particular that you're looking for within this data entry?
Recent changes to his medical history or condition, and anything about the virus or the encounter with that creature. So if it gives a name for whatever condition he might have.
Just one thing, sorry, as the map gets updated. As Lachlan moves away from Dakota, Elias is going to keep his eyes on him.
I like that. Dakota's just like
so
cradling the device, I assume.
Just so one of the people with the thing is on him.
So what it says about his current status, it says subject within acceptable parameters for further experimentation.
I'm going to search for any of the other crew's names, and I want to correlate that with whether they have been deemed like unfit for further experimentation.
Ross, you find your information, right? You find your information in it. Incompatible. That's all it says. There's one data entry, just says incompatible. Go to, you find Elias, incompatible. You go and you find Lachlan, data unavailable. You find Emmett, incompatible. It's the only information.
Captain, I think you might want to take a look at this.
Oh, kind of move his way up there, looking over his shoulder.
Seems like the ship knows us.
Like, how?
It knows, well, knows Dakota's history, where he was born, pretty much what he had for dinner last night. Just minor details. Knows us, and he's just going to point out the incompatible versus subject deemed fit for further experimentation.
Rolling quickly past, finished 98th percentile in his class in the Naval Academy. What? How would it possibly have that information on Dakota? He wasn't born in the system, was he?
Well, if it has access to his neurochemistry.
I guess I could read his mind, for lack of a better term.
I mean, if memory is just stored chemical patterns and electrochemical signals, then yes.
A little bit too much like magic for my liking.
Well, we are being haunted by a psionic ghost, so...
Yeah.
Right.
Did you look up the symbiote virus genetic anomaly
I mean, what do I even search for?
Can you read Dakota's entry and see what it calls as experimentation? Give it a more thorough read, maybe. See if we can
Speaking of
find some more
that,
search terms.
speaking of Dakota, we may be so bold. Dakota, the time has come for you to decide: do you put it on or do you not put it on?
He probably would have put it on, just even if it's just absentmindedly. Yeah.
Dakota, you look down and realize that you have it on your arm. Yeah. It seems to compress, very similar to when you've had your blood pressure test. It kind of compresses on the forearm. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't feel bad. But you start to get bits of data about your heart rate, your blood pressure, you're a little low on iron right now. Like all of these different things, just all of this information start to come on the screen. And you don't realize it, but it's all in a language that you've never seen before, but you can read it. It looks like English to you, but anyone else that approaches and looks at it all just looks like alien gibberish.
In the
Soon
meantime, he probably would have been looking at these screens over here to attempt to see something. I just wasn't going to interrupt the
right hand
people's-
side or left hand side?
over here. I
Over
meant
here?
to paint, but it didn't paint.
Perfect. No,
The
that's
ones
totally
that
good.
are actively working.
Yeah. So you can read everything on here. What this ship is doing is it is cataloging everything about this system. And when I say everything, I literally mean everything. It goes down to the minute detail of a small insect's day-to-day life on the third planet from this third sun. It is insanely minute detail, and it seems to be cataloging everything about everyone's life. You can even see that there's information about the planet you just came from, the location of those that left and went away. It's just literally everything. You're not sure the reason it's cataloging it, but you know that it is cataloging it, right? Simultaneously, though, the room that our good man Emmett looked into, you perhaps glanced away for a brief moment, and then as you glance back, you glanced over to see Dakota moving over to the console. He put the little thing on, it's giving out readings. As you glance back, you are greeted by a face-to-face encounter. You can see her metallic hands on the door, but she is staring directly at you with piercing yellow eyes, just like yellow, just almost glowing. And as you turn back, she simply says, "Greetings."
Emmett falls onto his ass and starts scrambling away, gun drawn on her.
Instinctual human reaction, one to fear. Prognosis: calm, 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 calm. Comfort, calm.
Captain!
You can see her struggling with the door, and it's kind of grinding, but it's slowly opening.
Elias will, spin with it, bring the laser pistol up and kind of rotate back to put his back against the other door and just kind of wait. Weapon on the
Hostility at unknown. Prognosis: communicate, parlay, discuss. She gets the door about halfway open and then stops. And it seems as though she's like processing the situation. You see her bring both her hands up as though she's raising them. Hands up, don't shoot kind of style. I mean you no harm. You are guests aboard the vessel. No harm is intended or implied. May I exit the chamber?
get up. Yes, and he'll lower his pistol from a ready position to a low ready, or aimed position to a low ready.
Prognosis: move slowly. Move purposefully. Do not appear threatening. No threat implied or intended. And then she grabs onto it with both arms, and very slowly the door grinds open. And I'd like everyone to make a notice check on this really quick.
How long do I have while that door is grinding open, by the way?
You've got
30 seconds?
30 seconds. Yeah, that was terrible.
All right, does the door open behind me again?
It does not in this moment, surprisingly enough.
All right. Elias is going to offer the laser pistol to Emmett because he's a better shot than he is.
Yeah. Dakota, even though you're all the way over there, you hear the grinding, and as you look back, you notice that the door itself appears to be in fine condition, but you are seeing small, subtle signs as though someone tried to weld it shut. You're the only one that notices this because that's hilarious, which I love. But the door grinds open, and then the woman takes just a single step out into the hallway with the rest of you.
You damaged? Seem to be having trouble.
Minor issues. Small repairs needed, but functional. Current functionality, 83%.
What is your function?
To steward the vessel, steward the vessel and occupants.
Is her voice the same as the one that was coming through the speakers?
Exact same voice.
Are we the only occupants?
Current occupants number calculating. Current occupants aboard Apeiron Aeternitas 7.
Are you one?
Calculating. Constructing response. Zzz, zzz. I am the ship itself, not counted towards current occupants.
Potential hostiles.
What caused the damage to your form?
That information is inaccessible.
Are you an artificial intelligence or
Recalculating approach to conversation. Kind of powers down. Moment passes, then she seems to power back up. Greetings, travelers. Apologies for the initial encounter that we just experienced. I needed time to process a voice and tonality that would be acceptable to you. You may refer to me as Fandara. I am the steward of this vessel and its custodian. What brings you to Apeiron Aeternitas?
Imminent death.
She looks at each and every one of you. All of you appear to be in perfect health. What death do you speak of?
Doctor?
Did you recently have people leave the ship?
She
Emmett.
seems to ignore that question. Just ignores it, almost as though she didn't hear it. But Lachlan, you were going to say something.
I was going to sort of broach the subject of the infection in as delicate way as I can. This is where, like, we would know that you would insert all of the technobabble required to, explain to our audience what happened. As if I remembered it perfectly from the
absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. She locks eyes with Lachlan after he explains technobabble, everything that transpired. An item was stolen from this vessel by visitors. This vessel contains an infinite amount of knowledge. Some knowledge is beneficial to those that seek it, helpful. Some is harmful. This vessel contains an equal amount of both.
does it contain knowledge about how to cure us?
She ignores that question and looks to Dakota. Dakota, how are you feeling?
About the same, I would assume. Correct.
Really good. Really at home. Just everything
Oh.
feels great. Yeah.
I get a strange sense of ennui, mon cher. This is a little strange. I have not felt this way in as long as I can remember.
She nods her head in this kind of like understanding, sort of like almost like consoling kind of way, like takes her hand, almost kind of reaches towards, but like goes back. And she says, "It is natural to feel both at ease and uneasy when returning to the place of your creation.
Doesn't quite know how to respond
Everyone
to that. Yeah.
slowly backs away and everyone just
Yeah, I'm
gets
just
silent. I love
just
that.
gonna think about that for a minute.
Yeah. Elias just keeping the potentially only means of destroying this maybe later hostile creature away from the hostile creature,
Mhm.
or potentially hostile creature that is.
Creation, you say, mon cher.
You said
that-
somebody came and stole information.
Knowledge is power, as an old earth saying goes. And with great power comes great responsibility. But I couldn't say it with a straight face. Forgive me.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody. I'm gonna leave this.
You're Godspeed.
Yeah.
I'm a head out.
Yeah, that's good. Have a good night. All right. So, yes, travelers, seekers of knowledge boarded the vessel, similar to the way in which you did. Information, knowledge was offered to them. But instead of respecting that relationship, they chose to break trust, and thus were punished for it. She says punished for it. There is a clanging noise, as though someone either ran into something or dropped something, and it comes from down the hallway to the left. Got ting, 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 ting. The woman, Bandara, turns her head to the left, lightning quick, and those yellow eyes turn red.
Keep the pistol on the android,
Mm-hmm.
and Elias is gonna rotate down with the inferior weapon to go check out what that was.
Mm-hmm. Dakota, the device on your arm starts to get really warm, and as you look down on it, you see on the screen what appears to be a map of the vessel, the local area that you're in, not a full map. You see little green dots that seem to indicate you, your friends, and the android. And you see a singular red dot that is pinging about 100 feet down that hallway to the left.
Well, I played enough video games to know what the radar looks like. Going to sneak down the hallway to get eyes on this red dot.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming the hallway is conductive to sneaking.
It is. It can be. As you pass by the android, her eyes maintain this kind of red, glowing look. And you hear in your mind, you're the only one that hears this, protect your home.
Just gonna real quick, just do a vibe check on Dakota, if you will.
Dakota, how you looking? What's your look right now, Dakota?
He looks determined to go figure out what that sound was. Is how I got it. So yeah, he's in a defensive stance, slowly making his way down the hallway,
Love that.
not being seen.
So down the hallway. Go ahead, Blau. Excuse me.
Sorry. Assuming Dakota passes him,
Yeah.
Elias is going to pull the injector syringe from his pocket and place it under his pistol, just so both of them are ready. And, follow up with Dakota.
So as you make your way down the hallway,
Emmett would like to, keeping his gun on the android, would like to ask, are we safe on this ship?
the android ignores your question.
I am not liking this, guys.
Probably fine.
As long as we don't set it off, I think we're fine.
Dakota, you're going to go all the way down until you get close to where the little red dot is. Who's following him? Who's going with him?
Elias is. I want to keep
Elias?
at least one dose of the.
Okay, Elias. All right. You round the corner. Where you see a kind of crazed looking woman with kind of very dark red hair. Her eyes, she has these kind of like almost yellowish looking eyes, but it looks more like jaundice than it does actual, like her eyes are yellow. And she is like kneeling down on the floor. And on the floor, you see what appears to be a circle of blood. And you can see that she is actively drawing it in a circle. And it kind of looks like a pentagram is the best way I can describe it. I'll move her for a second just so you can get a good look at her, as it were. But she is kneeling down and is mumbling to herself as she is drawing this.
On the way over, sorry.
Yeah.
About halfway over to this corner, that you could see. He's gonna just tap the earbud or activate his comms and someone say comm check quietly so it doesn't carry very far.
Yeah.
Emmett's gonna clear his throat to make sure his goes through for him.
Nobody hears that. The comms aren't working. Just FYI. No response, Elias.
Yeah. Elias nods to himself and just continues down.
Yep. So as you get close, Emmett and Elias and Dakota, you can hear the woman mumbling to herself. Should stay close. Gotta keep it close. Shouldn't have opened it. Gotta can't put it back in now. It's open. Can't. Keep it. And she's like dabbing the circle around as she does so, and you can see just a whoop, but you can see that her pointer finger on her right hand is like it's like bloody, like a bloody stump down to the first knuckle. Like she's been just drawing and dragging it in a circle around herself, and she's kind of doing this spin and just mumbling to herself about should have stayed closed, shouldn't have been opened, can't put it back in. And she just seems delightfully mad.
This corner, take a bit of cover and keep the mag pistol just ready. Now then, Monsieur, you could give up and this could be much easier for all of us.
Imagine she's on all fours. She's drawing this wide circle around her. And as she's pivoting her head, like she's on like her hands and knees, her head is looking your direction, like looking down, but pointing your direction. She looks up and you can see those yellow eyes, those jaundiced looking eyes. Her skin appears to be gaunt, as though she hasn't eaten in a while. Looks very malnourished. And as she looks up at you, she takes that bloody stump of a finger and points at you. Couldn't be here. You gotta go. You gotta leave. I've been waiting for you. And she continues to draw the little circle.
Can we, by the way, hear, like the rest of us who didn't follow?
Yeah.
obviously.
You can hear the
We can hear that?
like kind of hear it, like it's muffled a little bit because it's down
Okay.
the hall and she's not being like actively loud. She's not yelling. She's just like
Yeah.
mumbling and like breathy whispering. But you can hear some sort of conversation going on down the hall. You know, they're kind of echoey.
Can I ask
Pandara?
Emma Watson?
Yeah.
Sorry, Fendara. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
Emma
you.
Watson. Sure.
Yeah. Can I ask her? Earlier, you said that there were 7 life forms registered on the ship here. Do you know anything about the others? Anything you can tell us?
Her red eyes, still red eyes, they look towards Lachlan. You are incompatible. The other one was also incompatible.
Well, it's not the first time I've heard that in my life.
She got rejected by robot Emma Watson. Throw it out there. How does that feel?
That's fine. It's not my vibe.
That's fair. I understand.
You know.
So you said that the ones who stole that knowledge were punished. How were they punished? Because we don't want to steal anything from you.
She finally looks and addresses Emmett. Complete erasure.
Oh.
She then does a kind of twitch thing that she's been doing as though she's like malfunctioning again. Unmaking, she says.
I'm so fucking scared right now.
Fandara, if I may, if someone were to share, try to share in the knowledge that's provided here, how would they do that respectfully?
The mention of this question, as you ask this question, her eyes turn from the red to the same kind of blue that you were seeing on the screens. It's the same color. Those eyes, as you were staring at them, sort of seem to like sink in, like visually, like imagine like you're doing like a fisheye lens.
Mm-hmm.
And the other two standing here would watch as Lachlan seems to go into this kind of almost hypnotic like trance as she's looking directly at him. Lachlan, you sort of watch as your vision is kind of pulled into this. It almost seems like it's pulled into her, like into her eyes. Everything goes bright blue for a second, and then you find yourself standing in just this vast, open, blue room. So imagine just like if you've ever seen The Matrix, it's the best way to describe it. It's like the white room that they're in.
Yep.
It's like that, but it's like a light blue, and you see her standing next to you as you look to your left. However, she's not an android. You can still see Emma Watson's face, android Emma Watson, but she's dressed in a Greek toga, like a white Greek toga. So she stands out to the blue background. She speaks to you in much more human, natural kind of voice. Knowledge can be taken from here. It can be stored in your mind. But the physical knowledge itself, the actual atoms, must be preserved. This ship is a kind of vault in which things that can help humanity are being stored for when it is their time, but things that can harm humanity are being looked after, to be released when and if becomes necessary. One of those things was released, or at least attempted to be stolen from the vault, and thus drastic measures were taken. I believe the old Earth saying is, you can look, don't touch. As she says this, you watch as these rows and rows of, like, they very quickly going by you, just like that arming up scene, quickly going by, you see vials, you see, containers, you see animals, you see, like little, like vials of like different, like almost kind of looks like little virus vials and things like that, like in a lab. You see all of these things go rushing past you. You almost feel the breeze on your face, and then you watch as it stops at a particular like row of vials and items and things like that. And there is a little vial that, little like holster, like a little like thing where you'd like put the tube in, that is missing. And she points at that and says, "It was taken. It was taken and broken, and must now be replaced. It must be brought home."
How would suppose we want to do this to return this item? How would we go about it?
The process has already begun.
You mean, and so I'm separate from. I can't see anybody else. It's just me and her, right?
Correct. Standing in
Okay.
this vast open space, rows upon rows of shelves and books and vials and all of this other stuff.
Dakota, remind me what color is Dakota's hair? Is what would be the most
It's really brown, like kind of red.
what would be the most like obvious physical difference in Dakota versus everybody else?
Well, I couldn't tell you that. I have no clue. That's a good question.
His accent.
It's actually it's not physical.
Oh,
I
sort
don't know.
of.
It seems everybody else's hair is kind of shorter. His is longer.
Okay, all right.
I suppose.
That's enough. Yeah. Do you mean the long-haired one? Is he part of this reclamation?
Just a slow nod of her head.
What does you say that knowledge is kept here? Knowledge that can be shared. What do the archives, if you will, what do they have to say about free will?
That seems to give her pause. She's been very quick with most of her answers when she chooses to answer, but this one seems to give her pause. Free will is a luxury. A luxury that the universe sometimes must disallow if it is to go on functioning. But it exists.
If that's the case, then what you're saying is that the universe itself, if it can allow and disallow a man's freedom, let's say, his ability to determine his actions, regardless of whether they're good or bad for everyone else, the universe can decide that. And the universe, ergo, is alive, is conscious.
Tilts her head to the side again. Tilts it back. That data is unavailable.
Well, of course it is. Is there a way to communicate with whatever it is that decides these things? Much like I'm talking to you now?
In a way, says, in a way. The way in which we communicate with it is through our actions. Those that created this vessel chose to communicate it with it by seeking to understand its creation, seeking to understand its components, what it was comprised of. To communicate with it, they sought to understand it in its entirety. Something that led to their destruction.
No. I'm a man who chases wisdom. I think in some way all of us human beings are. To what extent we continue the chase when we get tired and step out of the race, I suppose. Well, that's up to us to decide. We don't want to. I don't want to speak for everyone. I don't want to reach beyond my station. I know there are some things that we're not really meant to know. But I do bristle at the idea that someone gets to decide exactly what we shouldn't know. If you're saying that the long-haired one is part of this process to determine what should and should not be known, what should and should not stay here in the vault, wouldn't it be better to allow him to do that of his own volition?
All of these rows of files and books and everything rush away, leaving, and you find yourself now standing, like she was beside you, and she's now standing right in front of you, still wearing that white or that bluish toga, or no, white toga, blue background. She's looking at you, and this is the most human that both android Emma Watson and actual Emma Watson has ever looked in the history of reality. She looks at you, and everything about her has been, like kind of like almost human, she seems a little more human now, a little bit more human. She reacts to this question in the most human-like way. She seems distraught. She seems conflicted. It is as though whatever part of her encompasses and makes up this kind of human nature that you're communicating with is in conflict with the more machine-like programming.
Mm-hmm.
As this is all going on, I'm going to have you roll a D100 because I think random chance is going to make this the most interesting.
Oh, good.
High will be the AI wins out. Low will be the human wins out. Proceed.
Let me offer the counter argument.
I would love that you did that, please.
Okay. Because we just had a conversation about free will and determinism.
Yeah.
I want to add I want to push back on the randomness.
Oh, okay. Okay.
By adding a little bit of push in our favor.
I love that.
I have the diplomat focus.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Now, normally it says reroll ones on any skill check dice related to negotiation or diplomacy.
Yeah.
What I want to say is, let's still do that D100 roll.
Okay, but you get to reroll if you don't like the result.
Well, I want advantage on that roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I want bonus dice on that roll.
Done.
Right. So I want to take the higher.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, the lower.
The human.
Yeah.
What the more human one?
The more
Whatever.
human one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I like that.
Yeah, let's do 2D100.
Love
right?
that. Love that.
Yeah. And then we'll see.
I'm nervous.
No, it's like it's 1D100 keep KH1.
I can't remember how to
what's
do it.
Yeah.
It would be 2D100 KH1.
2D100 KH1. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know if that's the right syntax for roll
Yeah.
20,
I
but
can't remember. Ooh, let's go.
oh, we kept the wrong one, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway,
keep lower,
7.
but you
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's a 7 though. So
Yeah.
Either way.
Cool.
yeah, that's fantastic. All right.
Oh.
So you watch as again she seems to be like fighting internally, and then her expression like turns into this kind of almost rage, and you watch as she kind of crouches forward, grabbing the side of her head, and lets out this garbled mechanical sort of like a speaker is crackling, like I'm peaking, and you're just hearing this like screaming. You are thrust back. You physically feel like you're thrust into your body. Everyone watches as the good doctor Elias takes a couple of steps back. This entire conversation you just had actually took place over the course of like 1 second. So all you guys saw was him go limp for a second and then suddenly get repulsed back. The android in front of you drops to her knees and is twitching and jittering and moving around and seems to be like basically malfunctioning and falling apart. And then her eyes close and she just falls forward and just clunks to the floor. As all of that happens, I'd like to pivot back over to our good man over with the woman that's crazy on the floor. And
Wonderful.
as you are looking at her, Dakota, you're filled with this desire to protect your home. Your left arm that you've got the device on, that has felt very at home, suddenly starts to feel very, very, very heavy, very uncomfortable. This voice that you've heard in your head that's been urging you on, pushing you forward, telling you what to do, you hear it for a brief moment. It is that android voice, and she says, "The choice is yours." Without realizing it, Dakota, you have a firearm, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, pistol?
Yes.
You have your gun up. You didn't realize you raised it with your right hand, but your gun is up, and it is pointing directly at that woman. And you have a choice to make. You know that choice is to pull the trigger or to lower the weapon. It is entirely up to you.
Without lowering the weapon, he is going to speak with music.
Leak and crystal
What did that
crystal
confirm?
ambience. There you go.
Yes.
Gotta set the
He's
mood.
going to speak with her. Namasha, I give you a chance. Put back whatever this thing is you took.
She's
Clearly, it's not good for you either.
drawing the circle. And as she's drawing the circle, you see her stop and look up at you, Dakota. You see her like bring her hand to her chest, a little pocket there. And as she does so, you see her hand trembling, the bloody stump hand. This is their left hand, the one that's not bloody. Very gingerly reach into a small, and pull out a small vial. It's trembling. Inside of that vial, you see this twisting and twirling. It kind of looks like a DNA strand, but you can tell that it looks like it's a bunch of little nanites. They're all kind of spinning around, but they're creating this kind of helix as they're doing, but it's changing different colors. It's going from purple to blue to green to purple to blue to green, purple to blue to green. It's all of these different colors. And you can see that there is a label etched into it, like it's etched to glass, but you can no longer read whatever the language was. So that language that you could read a few moments ago, that you could see everything on it, you could see what's going on, you could understand it, all looks like gibberish to you. And she just holds it there and looks up at you. We deserve to know. We deserve to know why. Why it happened. This explains everything. And she just is trembling there looking at it. You can see that there's a little, cap on it. You can see her thumb is trembling next to it. Just kind of like waiting, as though she wants to open it. But I want to give you a moment to respond or simply wait to see what she does.
Where am I, Wolf, by the way?
You were all the way back with everybody else.
Oh, am I out of Blue Matrix world?
You're out of Blue Matrix world. Yep, you went back into your body. Yep.
Blue Magic Girl.
Yeah.
Can I head over there?
Yeah, you could have rushed over there at this point.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
with the android on the ground,
Yeah.
I think I'm.
You guys all want to rush over there. You just gotta move yourselves over to right over there. There you go.
Actually, Ross is going to go examine the android and see if he can understand what has occurred to it. But we can ignore that for now and go.
Yeah. Ross, TLDR, Ross. It seems to have had a logic failure based on the. It looks like it confused itself and then shut down. It seems to be rebooting though. So that's either a good or a bad thing. We're not sure, but it's definitely rebooting right now.
Classic God does not compute.
Yeah, God does not compute. Correct.
Elias, as you guys come around the corner, Elias is standing there, essentially with the syringe raised as Dakota has his gun pointed at the woman.
I think seeing that, I would look at you, Captain, and sort of like gesture to like ease up. Like,
Right.
Did I hear what she just said?
Yes.
Okay. I want to do this. I want to like do the Chris Pratt like.
Everybody, calm down.
And with everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, all right, ease up, calm down, lower the weapon, lower the syringe, lower everything. And then I want to approach the woman, okay? And I want to get on my knees near her right? And I want to like carefully put my hands around hers in such a way as to like
hold on to him.
Hold her, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
like to like steady her. Okay. And I want to say, Allah knows exactly what to give you to help you return to him. Your life is purposeful, appropriate, and non-random. If Allah seeks to give you this, he will give it to you. But it's not yours. Not that I can tell. So perhaps it's best to let it go.
Leave that there for a moment. Dakota, gun still raised. Lachlan there. Your hands still trembling. A perfect shot. Kill this woman. Do you fire, or do you lower your weapon?
Woman look threatening at this point.
You are not sure what she's going to do. You have no idea. All of that instinct, that knowing like this is the right place, it feels good, it feels right. No idea.
Can I look back at
Yeah,
Dakota?
you could look at Dakota. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanna look at him with the gun still in his hands. And I don't want to say anything. I just want to be like,
That he'll take the gun to a lower position, but not unready.
Mirroring
And if-
him, you can feel the woman's hand start to lower. And then she just very gingerly sets the vial down. The swirling helix like nanites inside seem to go inert and become this kind of just gray cloud inside of it. She just sets it down and it just sits there, and she looks directly at Lachlan and just leans into him as though she has lost all strength and is struggling to even stay kneeling. Toda, the device on your arm decompresses and slips off, clanging to the ground. The lights of the ship start to dim, and that kind of like bluish glow everywhere on all the screens starts to dim. And you hear this, what sounds like a decompression. Like the air in the room that you're in, the hallways, is starting to be sucked out. In fact, it feels like the air is starting to get rapidly thin. And you get the impression that you are no longer wanted here. There's little running lights leading towards the airlock that you guys entered into.
Emmett's gonna look at Lachlan and pretty much go, should I grab her?
who are you talking about?
The girl.
Stumpy?
Yeah,
Old Stumpy Stumps.
yeah, Stumpy.
Yeah, I would sort of guide her up and get you to like
Emmett is going to
leave the vial.
pretty much just full on like almost get ready
Not
to
you,
carry
and that we
her.
need that gun on the android if it's in the way of the airlock. And
Okay.
Elias will move forwards to grab the girl.
as we're guiding as I transfer this woman to Emmett, right, to get her off. I want to like look at the thing with the helix stuff, you know, the vial sort of type thing on the ground. And I want to like hold my gaze on it for like a few seconds. And then I want to like break it with my heel.
Yeah. I like that. I like that that's what you want to do. Are you committing to that?
100%.
Cool. So you pivot. You spin. You grab her up. Your heel goes down and you crush the vial. That horrific noise that you heard goes off again. And let me just switch the bleak orchestral ambience to this horrifying system malfunction. Starts going off. And you hear the voice come over. And I didn't expect this to happen, so I don't have a voice for it, but you hear containment breach, containment breach, containment breach. And then the voice comes over.
Odds of survival, 0%.
All of the air in the chamber is almost instantaneously sucked out. The only one that seems to be okay because he moved to the airlock already is Ross. Ross, the airlock doors slam shut right in front of you as a few moments later, Dakota, Lachlan, and the woman all doing that like fish thing where fish are like trying to breathe but they can't. All of them get to the door. You can see them like trying to breathe but they can't.
I mean, I will do everything I possibly can using my pre-tech or post-tech toolkit to try to force the airlock door.
Yeah, you plug your tech kit in and the tech kit it just shuts down. And you just see. Go ahead.
Elias turns, starts pumping rounds into the android.
Yeah,
He doesn't want to talk to anyone else after him.
You just pump rounds
There's
into
no
it.
way
You
to
watch as
connect
the
this.
android just like disintegrates. All of you are gasping for air. And Dakota, you feel your head start to burn. And you watch as electricity and energy starts to crackle around Dakota. And everything around you starts to seem electrified. And you watch as Dakota's mouth starts to open wider and wider and wider, almost like unnaturally. And then you just see this kind of like reddish pink mist appear as Dakota, Elias, Emmett, and Lachlan all just pink mist, just disintegrate into nothingness. As each of them disintegrates, the woman her as well, all of them disintegrate. All of them disintegrate. A few moments later, maybe about 6 seconds, the blue lights all come back on. They start to, you can hear like the air from the other side rushing back in. And the doorway slowly slides open and you hear decontamination process complete. Roll credits. And that is where we'll end the session for everyone. God bless you, Hex. You crazy son of a bitch.
I was trying to prevent anyone else from chasing it so that we would avoid. I was trying to do a humanitarian thing.
I mean, you did. No one else is going to chase it at this point.
I mean, yeah, fair. All right.
Oh, that did not go the way that you know what? I was like, hey, everyone's going to make it out. Everyone's going to be fine. This is great. And then he's like, I step on it. I was like, are you sure? Oh, fuck. All right. Well, that was an absolute shit show at the end there. That escalated super quickly at the end. I was like, this is going well. He didn't shoot her. This is good. Everything's fine. And then he steps on it. You crazy bastard.
Sorry, I thought it would turn out differently. I thought we'd be able to exit before it happened.
That's the epitome of the situation.
And then just Ross all by himself. All his friends are just dead.
And now Ross is going to be psychologically scarred for life.
Yeah, as the decompression was happening, I was looking at my character like, surely I have an emergency vac suit, of some sort, traveler-esque on my character. I have this bodysuit.
Yeah.
Surely there'd be something connected to the neck portion of that to let me breathe. No.
Oh my god.
Oop.
That was
Yeah, I have an anti-pink
Whee!
mist suit.
Oh my god. Well,
I suppose
that was wild.
the what do you call it did kill us. The
Yeah, the
damage,
android.
not the
The ship did. Yeah, decontamination. Got to do that shit. What a time to be alive. Well, I just want to say thank you everybody for going along this adventure with me. I did not see that happening. I really didn't. I was just like, they're never gonna break it. You know, maybe she'll open it and things will get weird. But you know, I think Lachlan did a good job. Like, you did so well. You did so well right up to the I step on it and break it. You did so
Mhm.
good. I was like, really? You
Well,
sure?
I think it's perfectly suited that, you know, humans with all of their, you know, complex, irrational nature
Hey,
fuck up at the very last minute.
free will, baby.
Yeah.
Free will. That was beautiful. That was so beautiful. I'm filled with so much joy that that's how it all shook out. But as I always say at the end of every session, this is our finale. Any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns, gentlemen?
I turned into pink mist.
You are pink misted. The only person that can ask questions is Matthew, because the only one that survived. I'm kidding.
No, he's
Well,
just gonna stay shotgun.
thank you so much, guys, for playing. I really like this system. I like that it's a very open setting, and I am currently working on another Stars Without Number that would be a long form campaign where you would explore, you know, multiple different sectors, as it were.
You're on Aeternitas 2. Aeternitas this.
Night is this, yeah. The Anima
Missed
Inferni
this.
is what I called it. But
The
I'm still
Adventures
working on
of Fucked Up Ross.
it. Yeah. Lachlan, the pink mist monster returns. What a time to be alive, sort of. But no, great job, everybody. And as I always say at the end of every session, thank you so much to the players for playing. Without you guys, this is literally impossible. And that was, you know what? It was worth the wait. Totally worth the wait at the end there. Totally worth the wait. You know, just rocks fall. Most of you die. And thank you to the viewers for viewing. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And happy gaming, everybody. We will catch you back here in about 30 minutes for session 2, or episode 2 of Star Trek Valhalla Season 3. Super excited to have that. We got a nice little double feature here tonight. But in the meantime, be well, be safe, and we'll catch you guys next time. Good night.